What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here with your $600 second stimulus check update and your $2,000 third stimulus check update. In this video, we have brand new details regarding the third stimulus check that we call a $2,000 plus up check, as well as the different buckets of money that you might be able to claim in this third stimulus package, as well as new details because we now have the wording of Joe Biden's stimulus package bill / plan that we're going to go over in this video. But first, if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss out on new videos that come out at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every single day. That way it's easy to remember for you guys when we go online, 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sometimes at 11 p.m. also if there's a lot of news going out. And hit the like button for us down below. It's like giving our YouTube channel a small stimulus check, but you don't have to print any money to do it. All right, guys, first let me show you exactly what Joe Biden said regarding the stimulus check and the stimulus package.
Our rescue plan also includes immediate relief to Americans hardest hit and most in need. We will finish the job of getting a total of $2,000 in cash relief to people who need it the most. The $600 already appropriated is simply not enough. You just have to choose between paying rent and putting food on the table. Even for those who've kept their jobs, these checks are really important. You see, if you're an American worker making $40,000 a year with less than $400 in savings, maybe you've lost hours, or maybe you're doing fewer shifts, driving a truck or caring for the kids or the elderly. You're out there putting your life on the line to work during this pandemic and worried every week that you'll get sick, lose your job, or worse. $2,000 is going to go a long way to ease that pain.
Now, Joe Biden is not really unveiling just one stimulus package. He's also talking about another stimulus package that he is going to be presenting as early as next month. So there's actually two stimulus packages. The second stimulus package he calls an infrastructure package, which basically means it's another stimulus package, just going to focus on infrastructure and whatever they happen to put in that bill, which is just another bill that is going to come that presents opportunities to have all sorts of different buckets of money for stimulus in there.
Tonight, I'll lay out my first step, the American Rescue Plan, that will tackle the pandemic and get direct financial assistance and relief to Americans who need it the most. Next month, my first appearance before a joint session of Congress, I will lay out my Build Back Better recovery plan. It'll make historic investments in infrastructure, that Build Back Better plan. Infrastructure, manufacturing, innovation, research and development, and clean energy. Investments in a caregiving economy and in skills and training needed by our workers to be able to compete and win in the global economy of the coming years. Moody's, an independent Wall Street firm, said my approach will create more than 18 million good-paying jobs. Our rescue and recovery plan is a path forward with both seriousness of purpose and a clear plan, with transparency and accountability, with a call for unity that is equally necessary.
Okay, so now let's jump over to the actual bill, the actual wording of the plan from Joe Biden's administration himself. Okay, as you can see here, President-elect Biden announces American Rescue Plan. This bill is 19 pages, so I'm just going to cover the highlights and the important information that you guys need to know. It says President-elect Biden is laying out the first step of an aggressive two-step plan for rescue. Remember that two-step is that second stimulus package called the infrastructure package that he says will be coming next month. From the depths of this crisis and recovery by investing in America, creating millions of additional good-paying jobs, combating the climate crisis, advancing racial equity, and building back better than before. While Congress's bipartisan action in December, that's the $600 stimulus check package, was a step in the right direction, it was only a down payment. It fell far short of the resources needed to tackle the immediate crisis. We are in a race against time, and absent additional government assistance, the economic and public health crisis could worsen in the months ahead. Schools will not be able to open safely, and vaccinations will remain far too slow. Specifically, President elect Biden's American Rescue Plan will mount a national vaccination program containing COVID 19 and safely reopen schools. The one key point here is reopening a majority of kindergarten through 8 schools in the first 100 days. Now, the interesting thing is that's a little bit over 3 months. So that's basically April. And then schools go on recess for summer, kind of like in May. So I guess they're gonna open schools for like a month before, right before summer. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. You let me know your thoughts on that down below in the comments. Next up, deliver immediate relief to working families bearing the brunt of this crisis by sending $1,400 per person checks to households across America, providing direct housing and nutrition assistance. Again, that will be a different bucket of money. Expanding access to safe and reliable childcare and affordable health care, increasing the minimum wage, extending unemployment insurance, and giving families and kids and childless workers an emergency boost this year. So I believe this line right here, giving families with kids and childless workers, so basically people without kids, an emergency boost this year. I believe that's the tax credit, tax credits that are refundable credits that you guys will be getting an increase on that. Will basically give you an additional stimulus check on your tax refunds. Okay, there is a lot more detail in about the stimulus checks and all the other different buckets of money here that we will get to in a minute as we get further down the page. Some more support communities that are struggling in the wake of COVID-19 by providing support for the hardest hit small businesses, especially small businesses owned by entrepreneurs of color, and protect the jobs of first responders, transit workers, and other essential workers we depend on. He also says, in addition to this, he will be providing the infrastructure stimulus package next, is basically what this paragraph says. All right, scrolling down a little bit here, $160 billion in funding needed to save American lives and execute on the plan for the national vaccination program. $160 billion there. Another interesting one here is mobilize a public health jobs program. This proposal will fund 100,000 public health workers, nearly tripling the country's community health roles with new jobs. Identify and address emerging strains of the new virus. There is several different emerging strains and mutations that are already in the United States, and getting control of those will be a big priority to how much we can limit this virus in the future, or if it will stick around similar to how the flu sticks around every year. These mutations will be the key to containing that crisis. Okay, provide $130 billion to help schools safely reopen. This is for flexible learning, remote learning, PPE equipment, filtration systems. The funds can be used to reduce class sizes and modify spaces so students and teachers can socially distance, improve ventilation, hire more janitors, implement mitigation measures, and all sorts of different things. $130 billion in there for schools. Here's another interesting one. Expand the higher education emergency relief fund. $35 billion in funding will be directed to public institutions, including community colleges. This funding will provide millions of students up to an additional $1,700 in financial assistance from their college. So that's an interesting thing. $1,700 in financial assistance for students from their college. Provide emergency paid leave to 106 million more Americans to reduce the spread of the virus. Also says provide expanded paid sick leave and family and medical leave. The president-elect will provide over 14 weeks of paid sick and family and medical leave to help parents with additional caregiving responsibilities when a child or a loved one's school or care center is closed, for people who are caring for or people with symptoms from the virus who are quarantining, and for people needing to take time to get the vaccine. So it's interesting what could happen here. 14 weeks of paid sick leave. It'll be interesting to see if the government is going to pay for that sick leave, 14 weeks. That basically could be like 14 weeks of unemployment pay, but because you're leaving for medical reasons. That'll be interesting to see what happens with that. Expand emergency paid leave to federal workers, and provide a maximum paid leave benefit of $1,400 per week for eligible workers. So that's interesting. Maximum paid leave benefit of $1,400 per week for eligible workers. This will provide full wage replacement to workers earning up to $73,000 annually. Okay, yeah, here we go. Reimburse employers with less than 500 employees for the cost of this leave. So that means the government will pay for it, but only if they have less than 500 employees. I guess that they're expecting larger companies to just pay for it on their own. And extending the refundable tax credit for employers for 100% of the cost of this leave. Okay, here's more information about the checks. Give working families a $1,400 per person check to help them pay their bills, bringing the total relief payment from this and the December payment to $2,000. President-elect Biden is calling on Congress to increase the direct financial assistance to $2,000, an additional $1,400 per person in direct checks will help hard-hit households cover expenses, spend money at local businesses, and stimulate the economy. President-elect Biden's plan will also expand eligibility to adult dependents who have been left out of previous rounds of relief and mixed household status. So that's an important thing right there. He will expand eligibility to adult dependents who have been left out of mixed household status. Thank you. I know a lot of people that are adult dependents on this channel have been missing out on these stimulus checks. So again, this is a plan. This isn't an actual bill with the actual details. So what it looks like is the checks will for adult dependents, and this would probably cover college students dependents because they're technically adults and didn't get the last check. My guess would be at least $1,400 in checks for adult dependents or dependents. Yeah, adult dependents. And possibly 2,000. We don't know the details on that, it looks like yet. But it does look like at least $1,400 for adult dependents. And it does seem to me that this would include $1,400 checks for children too, because it says $1,400 per person. So I do think that the $1,400 will be for each child also. Oh, and here's something else that's interesting. His plan will ensure that the Treasury Department has the flexibility and the resources it needs to deliver stimulus checks to families that need them the most, including millions of families that still haven't received the $1,200 stimulus checks they are entitled to under the CARES Act, which is the first stimulus package. That is very interesting. So if you haven't received your first stimulus check for whatever reason, you might be able to get it now. Okay, next up, extend and expand unemployment insurance benefits so workers can pay their bills. Congress should provide $400 per week unemployment insurance supplement to help hard-hit workers cover household expenses. So yeah, $400 per week, and that goes until September 2021. I believe it's September 30th. We're expecting the $300 per week to go until mid-March. Then the $400 per week unemployment update bonus will kick in at the end of March. Once that $300 has exhausted, then it will kick into $400. Okay, this paragraph outlines that there will be additional money coming for rent relief, $25 billion for rental assistance, and extend the federal eviction moratorium until January 31st. I think that means to say beyond January 31st. I am expecting Joe Biden to pass a executive order on the first or second day of his office, extending the eviction moratorium and possible student loan payments well into later on this year. And there's also $5 billion to help you guys pay utilities, water, and electricity. So $30 billion in rental assistance total. When that comes out, I will be helping you claim it. We also have $25 billion that is coming out from the second stimulus package that is going to the states right now, but is really not being sent out yet. That'll probably happen within the next week or two. I will be helping you guys claim that money because you can get your rent paid for several months, aka several $1,000s from that bucket of money. Okay, extend the 15% increase on the SNAP program until September of 2021. So 15% increase on SNAP. And September 30th is that interesting date because that is when the government shutdown basically will happen again. They have to, it's when the funding for the government year goes until. Raise the minimum wage to $15 per hour. There's a lot of controversy on that because when you do that across the country, it'll raise prices on food and fast food and any place that has minimum wage. If they have to suddenly pay 50% more labor, well, they're going to have to raise their prices. So the prices on food will go up and the prices on fast food will go up and the prices on groceries. And it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. Here we go. Hazard pay. Call on employers to meet obligations to frontline workers, essential workers, and provide back hazard pay. Essential workers who have risked their lives to stock shelves, have kept the country running. The large number of employers, especially in retail and grocery sectors, have seen bumper profitability in 2020 and yet done little or nothing to compensate their workers. President-elect believes these employers have a duty to do right by their frontline workers and their sacrifices with generous back hazard pay for the risks they took in 2020 and up today. He and the vice president-elect will call on CEOs and other business leaders to take action to meet those obligations. So hazard pay is mentioned in here. It will be interesting to see what happens with this going forward. A $25 billion emergency stabilization fund for child care providers, and expand child care assistance to help millions of families and help parents return to work. Now we got increasing tax credits. This would basically be some stimulus checks to you in your taxes. Increased tax credits to help cover the cost of child care. Families will get back a tax credit as much as half of their spending on child care for children under 13 so that they can receive a total of $4,000 for one child or $8,000 for two or more children. The tax credit will be refundable, meaning that families who don't owe a lot of taxes will still benefit and get a tax refund check. Next up, we have increasing child tax credits and for childless workers. So this measure would give children and their families additional resources to increase the child tax credit to $3,000 per year for children from basically ages 6 to 17, and for children under the age of 6, $3,600 child tax credit per child. He also wants to raise the maximum earned income tax credit for childless adults, for adults that don't have children, from monthly $530 to close to $1,500. So that'll be an additional tax credit of about $1,000 to people without children. And basically that's pretty close to $1,000 stimulus check, an additional bucket money of in here that you will get on your tax refund or your tax return. Preserving and expanding healthcare coverage. Okay, provide small businesses with more funding to help them reopen and rebuild. Provide grants to more than 1 million of these hardest hit small businesses, $15 in flexible grants, and $35 billion in government funds into an additional $175 billion for small business lending and investment. $175 billion is a healthy sum there. It'll be interesting to see how this is distributed going forward. I will be helping you guys claim these different buckets of money going forward as it gets approved and we get more details. Okay, there's a lot of other details in there, but those are the main ones. I'll be going over more in the next video, as well as we'll talk about the Social Security increase and the student loan forgiveness in the next video. So make sure you're subscribed down below with the bell icon on so you don't miss out on new videos. 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Time every day. So just tune in on those times or turn on the bell notifications so you get alerts. And you can click this top video here to watch my newest stimulus check video next. And this video teaches you how to start your own business selling products on Amazon FBA. I have dozens of students that have replaced their 9-to-5 income selling products on Amazon, and I teach them how to do that. Click on one of those videos to watch them next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.